YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to Bananas Epic Gaming, and today on Bananas Epic Gaming we are filming another episode of CageTalk, and this episode of CageTalk is going to be the yearly first round NFL mock draft. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and here we go. With the first pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears are on the clock. Now, the Chicago Bears got this pick via trade from last draft with the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Chicago Bears, they could go quarterback here, or they could ride it out with Justin Fields. But I'm going to have them trade away Justin Fields. Justin Fields, you can trade him away to whatever team you want, but I would have him go to the Alanta Falcons. You can get a second round and third round pick in 2024. A fourth round pick in 2025, and QB Taylor Hennike. And now the Chicago Bears are on the clock. You're going to reset that QB clock, and you're going to take the best QB on the board. So with the first overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. Now, the Chicago Bears, they do what I did by trading away Justin Fields. They could take this gift from the football gods, the first overall pick that they were given when the Carolina Panthers traded up to take Bryce Young last season. With the new GM and head coach more than likely coming in next season, they're going to want to get their guy who's on a rookie contract. Justin Fields is going into his fourth year, barring no fifth-year option pickup. The Chicago Bears have the opportunity to take the best QB prospect in years. Only Caleb Williams and Trevor Lawrence are up there in PR grades for quarterbacks, up there being with the best since Andrew Luck came out of the NFL draft. They have missed out on multiple Hall of Fame QBs, and they missed up on multiple game-changing QBs as well. To name a few, Joe Montana, Patrick Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson. Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, when they took Mitchell Trubisky, they have a history of bad drafting, overpaying, and bad trades for awful QBs. In 2018, they also missed out on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. In 2020, they missed out on Jalen Hurts because of a trade for someone who's not even on the team anymore. In 21, they took Justin Fields, who has been okay. He's 38 for 29 and hitting on 60% of his passes. The Bears can't miss another good QB because the clear number one QB in this class is a generational player who could change the Bears franchise for the next 10 years to come. Get Caleb Williams and put the right pieces around him and fix that O-line and make a run. Caleb Williams, he's good under pressure, he has a strong arm, and he has the talent to get you over that hump. The Chicago Bears should have an easy decision come draft day. Draft Caleb Williams and do not look back. Caleb Williams, you are a Chicago Bear. Now on to the next team. Coming up next is going to be the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders are under new ownership, and they have a new coach coming in. The new GM that they got, I believe, last season is going to want to get his guy for the future because he's not going to bank his entire livelihood on Sam Howell. Sorry, but if it was me, I would be going O-line because your O-line is horrendous, but maybe they will do something in the offseason as of this recording. So with the second pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Jayden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. Now, Jayden Daniels is entering the first round conversation by becoming a more polished passer. He also led LSU in rushing the last 2 years, and now he can bring that skill set to the Commanders' offense. Pairing Jayden Daniels with Scary Terry should be plenty of hype into this fan base that has lacked hype for a long time. Because the Washington Commanders will get their guy, the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. I went quarterback with 1 and 2 for my mock. I believe Daniels is an intriguing pick on his own. Does the league view Daniels to the caliber of a prospect after his Heisman Trophy season? We will find out. But I would not be surprised if Jayden Daniels is one of the better quarterbacks to come out of this draft class. And now you can reset that QB rookie window and just build around him. The Washington Commanders taking Jayden Daniels here is the right call. But if you want to stick with Sam Howell, you can go Fashanu. But I have him going Jayden Daniels. Now on to the next team. Coming up next is going to be a team that I wasn't really expecting to pick in the top 3, let alone the top 5. And that is going to be the New England Patriots. Now, the New England Patriots, Bill Belichick is gone. You're going to have a new era in New England, and now I believe is the time to move off Mac Jones. Let the guy that's coming in to take the reins from Belichick, let him get his guy. And the QB prospects in this year's draft class, they all have something I like about them. My number 2 and my number 3 are close to each other, and I will feel very comfortable with my number 3 going right here. So, with the 3rd overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select quarterback Drake Maye out of North Carolina. Now, the New England Patriots have not been in the top 5 since 1994. And they haven't picked a QB in the top 5 since 1993. And that QB was Drew Bledsoe. With Bill Belichick now being out of New England, what better way to start this new era than going out and getting your QB number 1? And they do that with Drake Maye, who could be making an argument for himself to be QB1 in this draft class. I think the Mac Jones and the Zappy experiments should be over, and Drake Maye could be the QB for the New England Patriots for the next decade. He has strong potential to be a top passer in the league for the next decade plus. I really like Drake Maye here from the New England Patriots and whoever they have as their new head coach. As of the recording of this part of the recording, he's going to hopefully get the best out of Drake Maye. Now on to the next pick. So coming up next is going to be a team that has 2 first-round picks, and that team is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. Now, if you know me, you know where I'm going. So let's get into the Cardinals' first of 2 first-round picks. So the Arizona Cardinals, I believe, exceeded all expectations. Coming into this season, we all knew this season was going to be a chalk. We were not expecting to win that many games. Kyler Murray was coming off of a ACL injury, and we were trying to see who's going to stay here and who belongs here for the team for the future. Because in Monty we trust. And we have a pretty good idea of who we want here. And I hope we do some big moves in free agency as of this recording. I mean, I would love Michael Pittman. I would love a guard and a few other things. Maybe an edge rusher would be nice. But this has been my number 1 prospect for Arizona, and I have been saying it time and time again. If the Cardinals are on the clock and this guy is here, we need to pull the trigger. So, with the 4th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of The Ohio State University. The Arizona Cardinals, some are saying that they are been playing better than what the record has shown. With the season now coming to a close, we're in the playoffs as of this recording. The Cardinal season is over. And GM Monty Ossenfort is coming into his second offseason with his second draft on the horizon. And he has the opportunity to completely change the landscape of the Arizona Cardinals and the NFC West. Marvin Harrison has came out and said he is leaving school and heading into the NFL. The Cardinals now get another opportunity to take a generational wide receiver to go along with their franchise QB in Kyler Murray, their fast superstar tight end Trey McBride, who has had a fantastic year. He's one of the fastest rising tight end superstars in the NFL, and the heart of the team, James Conner. No one will complain if Monty can pull this off. If we were able to fill one of our biggest needs with arguably the number one prospect in the draft, it's a win, especially at pick 4. Marvin Harrison is going to be a top 10, top 15 receiver in the NFL. If we were to do weird science, a wide receiver, the computer would almost certainly produce Harrison as said receiver. The consistent All-American wide receiver is a route technician who features prototypical size. Standing in at 6'4", 205, Harrison Jr. has strong hands and athleticism. With the Hall of Fame lineage, he's the son of Marvin Harrison Sr. He is going to fill those shoes just well in the NFL. And the Cardinals get a guy for Kyler Murray to grow with. Now on to the next pick. Coming in at pick number 5 will be the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers are in a predicament. They're in cap hell. So we're going to need to restructure some contracts and maybe release a player or two to get back in the green. And that's going to hurt Justin Herbert because you might get rid of a weapon or two. But that's fine because you're going to take a weapon for him to continue to grow with right here. So you're going to do what the Cardinals just did. So with the 5th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Brock Bowers, tight end, out of the University of Georgia. Now, Brock Bowers is the clear number 1 tight end. Bowers has also been the best tight end in football over the past 2 years in college. Not only could he help protect Justin Herbert, but he can also provide the ultimate security blanket for him. You will be getting a Rivers to Gate like connection, hopefully, with these two. And with the new coaching staff coming in, the best thing for them to do is give Justin Herbert talent that he can grow with around him. Because the AFC will be a very tight race, and you do not want to fall behind, because anything can and will happen. Brock Bowers will do wonders for Justin Herbert for years to come. Now on to the next pick. Coming in at pick number 6 will be the New York Football Giants. Now, I'm going to do my best for the New York Football Giants because of a good friend of the channel, DJ Notorious. So, that being said, let's get into it. So the New York Giants, they are a team that I thought that would be good this year, but injuries and some bad coaching have landed them a top 10 pick. I have their top three needs being wide receiver, QB, and edge rusher. They could go offensive line as well, but I see them spending money in free agency on that and on edge rusher. The QBs here, Michael Phenix Jr. and Bo Nix, they are the best options on the board, but I don't see New York taking another QB in the first when they still have Daniel Jones on the roster. They could maybe go QB round 2. So lucky for them, my wide receiver 2 is here, and they are going to jump at the fact that they can get an impact guy to come in and be their wide receiver 1 on day 1. Slayton and Hyatt can be the wide receiver 2 and 3. So, with the 6th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Malik Nabers, wide receiver out of LSU. Malik Nabers' body control and route running are top notch, plus he's elite after the catch and a terror in the open field. Nabers can go out there and get the job done when you need him to. Pairing him with Hyatt and Slayton will be a nice little trio for the New York Giants. Nabers will only do himself wonders because he needs a decent quarterback to give him the ball, and when you give him the ball, he will ball out for you. Now, the Giants, they can go and get a day 2 or day 3 QB, fix a little O-line problem that they have, get a good edge rusher, and they will not have a repeat of this year. I promise you that. Or they can wait until next year to get a QB of the future. But the Giants will be better this upcoming season, because I believe this season was a fluke. Now on to the next pick. So coming in with the next pick are going to be a team that has improved a little, and that's going to be the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans, they have Will Levis, you have Traylon Burks, you have DeAndre Hopkins, so wide receiver could be in play. So you can have a good 1-2-3 punch. Derrick Henry's future in Tennessee as of right now is within question because people think he's leaving because he's a free agent. But you need to build that offensive line, because if you don't have a good offensive line, it doesn't matter who your quarterback, running back, receivers are. So I have the Tennessee Titans going offensive line. So with the 7th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Fashanu, offensive tackle out of Penn State University. Now, the Tennessee Titans with this pick will be building that O-line to give Will Levis more time, and that's what they should do. If Fashanu is gone, Joe Alt would be another name to watch out for, but if they're both gone, I can see them going Odunze, wide receiver from Washington. But luckily, my board is falling the way that it is. I haven't needed to make any trades, and Fashanu to Tennessee to help the Titans in the pass protecting and run blocking game will do wonders for Tennessee. And you can maybe try to bring Derrick Henry back, and this will help the team even more because you get an elite pass protector who just needs a little bit of work on his blocking. Fashanu to the Tennessee Titans should be the pick, and it is the pick in this mock. Now on to the next pick. So coming in at pick number 8 is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are the team that I have trading to get Justin Fields. 2 seconds at least. But if they don't do that, I can also see them maybe trading up to get Caleb Williams, like I said earlier. But I didn't say that earlier. That's what I see them doing. Because they need a QB. Desmond Ridder is not a good QB. But in this mock, they get Justin Fields, and now they're going to go after their second need, which is an edge rusher. And they're going to get my number one edge rusher in the entire class. So, with the 8th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Alanta Falcons select Dallas Turner, edge rusher, out of Alabama. Now, the Falcons, they hit two really big needs in the draft with their first pick and their second pick. We got Justin Fields with a second round pick this year and next year, and we got arguably the best pass rusher who's going to be a quarterback hunter in the pros in Dallas Turner. Because the Falcons, they are in desperate need of a pass rusher, and they get arguably the best pass rusher in the entire draft in Dallas Turner. And they can make a run for that title, that division title, that they so desperately want to get. Because now, with Arthur Smith gone and their new coach coming in, he's gonna inherit a good offense that's missing a QB and a defense that is missing a legit pass rusher. But now you got him in Dallas Turner. Now on to the next pick. Coming in at pick number 9 is going to be the Chicago Bears. Now, the Chicago Bears, we took Caleb Williams with the first overall pick. We traded away Justin Fields and got an additional second round pick this year and next year. Now, the Chicago Bears are going to try to look to get another piece to this puzzle that they are missing. So let's get into it. Chicago Bears, you need to get Caleb Williams another weapon. You just traded away Justin Fields. You got more draft capital for this year and a little bit for next year. So go out and get the best wide receiver on the board. If you feel like you can get a first round pick and you can talk a team into trading a first round pick, maybe the Falcons for only their pick this year, I would have you do that and then take Dallas Turner, then take a wide receiver here. So, obviously, I'm going wide receiver. So, with the 9th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. Rome Odunze to the Chicago Bears would do wonders for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears organization. You get two really good players who could be cornerstones for your franchise. Rome Odunze is my 3rd wide receiver ranked in this year's draft class. If Arizona were to get him, I'll be perfectly okay with that. Chicago Bears, you get a baller and somebody who put 110% on the field at all times. Now on to the next pick. Coming in at pick number 10 is going to be the New York Jets. Now, the New York Jets, plain and simple, they need to protect Aaron Rodgers. You can go out and get another wide receiver in free agency or round 2. The second best offensive lineman is here on the board, and that's what we're going to do, and we're going to take that gentleman so we can protect Aaron Rodgers. That way he doesn't get hurt again, because he got hurt during week 1. He tore his Achilles. So with the 10th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Joe Alt, offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Now, Joe Alt brings great size and elite pass blocking to the New York Jets offense, and Aaron Rodgers should thrive knowing that Joe Alt is protecting him. Protecting Aaron Rodgers will only take you so far, so go spend big money in free agency that you can, and maybe draft Maye Williams in round 3, and or Brendan Rice, son of Jerry Rice, if they're there in round 3. Joe Alt will boost that offensive line because the New York Jets need to protect Aaron, because once he got hurt, that entire team fell apart. Now on to the next pick. So with pick 11, the Minnesota Vikings are on the clock, and now the Minnesota Vikings, they need to get a quarterback, because after Kirk Cousins went down, that team started to fall apart, and Justin Jefferson does not look happy. So I have them going quarterback here, and you can bring back Kirk Cousins on a team-friendly deal because he did say he would take that, and he could either start and he could have the rookie learn, or he could mentor the rookie from the bench. So with the 11th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. So now Michael Penix Jr., he's my 4th ranked QB coming into the draft, and this is being filmed during the divisional round. So the combine hasn't happened, but I really like all the quarterbacks in this draft in my top 5, top 6. Well, Michael Penix Jr. will benefit from going to the Vikings because you can bring back Kirk Cousins, who is heading into free agency, and you can have him sit for a year, bearing Kirk Cousins is ready to go. But Michael Penix Jr. could be the quarterback for the Vikings for the future. He has a decent skill set if you want to bring back Kirk, like I said. Let him learn, and he will thrive and grow with Justin Jefferson. And you will make Justin Jefferson happy because the poor QB play has made him frustrated, it seems like. And locking down a QB1 for the next decade, if you're lucky, will be a decent upside and maybe get more players wanting to come to Minnesota. So the Minnesota Vikings getting their franchise quarterback is a must, and Michael Penix Jr. in my mind could be it. Now on to the next pick. So the 12th pick overall belongs to the Denver Broncos. Now the Denver Broncos are a team who has a little bit of a dilemma on their hands. They are probably going to let Russell Wilson go. They need to get that defensive front fixed, and they need to get another DB for the secondary. So they can go any position. I don't think taking my 5th ranked QB is the move here, or my 6th ranked QB. You could maybe take a Michael Pratt in round 2 if you are desperately looking for a QB. But you should be taking my number 1 edge rusher or the number 1 defensive lineman in the class, or find a dancing partner for Patrick Surtain. That's what I think the Denver Broncos should be doing. And worst case scenario, you bring in a veteran next season, or upcoming season, so next season, to hold down the ranks. If you draft like a Michael Pratt in round 2, or Spencer Rattler, like one of those guys, you can get like a round 2, round 3 pick. But if you don't go quarterback this draft, you could go after Sadir Sanders next year. You can try to make a play to get him next year. But build that defense, because defense wins championships. So, with the 12th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Latu, defensive end out of UCLA. Now, Laiatu is my number 1 edge rusher in the draft. The Broncos might be tempted to be taking a quarterback, but they're picking at pick 12. So if they're going to want one of those top guys, they're going to need to trade up. But you are fine here taking Laiatu. You can build that defense, and you could hopefully go out and get a free agent quarterback, because Cousins will be a free agent. Yes, he's coming off an injury. If he is going to be a Denver Bronco, you take Michael Pratt in round 2, or round 3, you can maybe get a Spencer Rattler. But Laiatu, he is the best edger in this class, standing in at 6'5", 265. He posted a 20% pass run rate in the past 2 seasons, And that's something that Denver would need up front. So the Denver Broncos, they will be getting a baller. And I would be perfectly happy with this pick. The only thing that I don't like is he had a neck problem a couple years ago. That's the one thing that is worrying me. So if you are not worried about that, then take the risk, because Laiatu is a tremendous pass rusher. Good hands, good quickness, good feet, and he will win the 1v1s with the left or right tackle, whatever position you want to, whatever side you want to play him at. He also can play linebacker too, so you need him at linebacker. He'll be a ball hawk. You need him to rush the passer and get a sack. You can do that too. So the Denver Broncos, make this your pick. Laiatu to the Denver Broncos. Now on to the next pick. And coming in at pick number 13 will be the Las Vegas Raiders. Now the Las Vegas Raiders are an interesting team. I'll tell you what the Raiders should be doing. And it's simple. Get a new QB. Jimmy Garoppolo is not the answer. AP Antonio Pierce, I believe I know who would be the best fit for your system. Let's talk about it. Las Vegas. Now, Las Vegas, you have the option of taking two of the best QB prospects on the board still. But I would consider taking in the first round in a J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix. You guys could also be looking at defensive back and O-line and D-line. But the most important position is quarterback. And you are playing in the AFC West with Mahomes, Herbert, and whoever the Broncos have at QB. You don't want to fall too far behind, because Mahomes is going to run that division. So, I'm going to have the Raiders take the best prospect at quarterback that's on the board, get that rookie contract you could have 4 to 5 years to build around him. So, with the 13th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select Bo Nix, quarterback out of Oregon. Now, the Las Vegas Raiders, they could save $15 million by having a $12 million cap hit if they move off of Jimmy Garoppolo, because the Raiders have the weakest quarterback in the AFC West, so they got to move fast, so they're going to fall behind. Bo Nix is my 4B ranked QB in this year's class. He has some major green flags and some red flags, but the red flags are fixable. He has good size and build. He has a good deep ball accuracy and scrambling toughness that you need to succeed in the NFL. His ability to work through pressure is some of the best I've seen of the draftees this season. The red flags, he's late on throw reads, inconsistency on his accuracy, and he's locked on first read at times. The Raiders will be getting a good QB who they could help grow. They can have him sit a year if need be, but Bo Nix is ready to play. He can come in under AP and take the Raiders to hopefully new heights, and you can continue to bring in weapons for him in the offseason, in free agency, after the draft, and in round 2 or later rounds. The Vegas Raiders have an easy pick, and it should be Bo Nix to the Raiders. Now on to the next team. And coming up next with the 14th overall pick will be the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints, they are in a bit of a cap predicament. So they're going to need to rebuild this team through the draft, because they basically have no cap room. So the Saints, you need to go out and you need to get a stud player in the first round, especially in the first round. So the Saints, I have their needs: edge, offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, and D-line. Quarterback, I don't see them going quarterback here or the second round, because they have Derek Carr. DB, they don't need a DB. They need to work on the edge and the O-line. But it's a little too soon to take an offensive lineman because the offensive lineman class this year is one of the best I've seen in a while. So I'm going to have them take my second best edge rusher. So with the 14th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Jared Verse, defensive end out of Florida State. In 2023, Jared Verse, now a fifth-year senior, is looking to boost his draft stock for the 2024 draft. He wants to be mentioned and discussed about as a top defensive player moving forward in the pros. His impressive stats give him a good start, and the upcoming season is an opportunity to make his game well known in the pro ranks. Known for his elite athleticism and combination of size and speed, Verse successfully transitioned from the FCS level to a prominent role in Florida State. Now he's ready for the next big step in his career with taking a full college resume versus looking forward to the 2024 draft. Not with just a hope of being a first-round pick, but a solid argument of being a high spot, possibly in the top half of the first round, showcasing an incredible journey through college. The Florida State defender is said to be one of the top in the country. Verse is a key player in that unit. His ability to pressure quarterbacks and stop the run will be crucial for any team that drafts him going forward, and will provide support for the rest of the defense. While Verse was already on track to be a high draft pick, another strong season with Florida State has pushed his draft stock even higher, potentially placing him in the top 5, but quarterback needs made him go down. The New Orleans Saints get a monster on the edge, and that's somebody they can build around for years to come. Now on to the next pick. And coming up next is going to be a team that is slowly getting better than what they were in the past couple of seasons, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts are starting to get the pieces together of being a really good team again. But let's talk about them real quick. Now, the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock. Now, the Colts, they have two big offensive weapon free agents in Michael Pittman Jr. and Jonathan Taylor, who are supposed to hit free agency. Now, you could go on and not pay Michael Pittman and bring back Jonathan Taylor and draft a rookie wide receiver, but that would be hurting Anthony Richardson because you want to give him all the weapons that he can need to succeed. So I think they will keep Michael Pittman and they will keep Jonathan Taylor, and you can get a bona fide starter with the first pick. And that's what they need to do, in my personal opinion. So the Indianapolis Colts need to go after a wide receiver here, being on the clock. Another position that the Indianapolis Colts could look at is defensive back, but I truly do believe wide receivers should be in play here. Because you got Anthony Richardson on that rookie contract, so you want to give him all the weapons he would need in order to succeed. And the best way to do that is bring in weapons when you have the opportunity to. And my 5th ranked wide receiver is still on the board, and so is my 4th. So you can go either or, but I like the 4th ranked receiver only because I think he would be a tremendous fit, and he's also really tall. You want to get a tall wide receiver who can jump, and that's what they do with this pick. So with the 15th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. Physicality and ball skills are the name of the game for Coleman. He's 6'4", 215. He always has his way with the DBs. He exceeds at fighting through the press at the line of scrimmage, as well as length and strength to buy space at the top of the routes to break the routes. Coleman, he is a really good football player, and he will exceed expectations for the Indianapolis Colts, and he will help get Anthony Richardson to the next level. He is a throwback X-receiver, and that is what Indy would need. Indy would love to have Marvin Harrison just because of the family history there, but they can get one of the next best things in Keon Coleman. You get Anthony Richardson, the fourth best ranked wide receiver prospect in the draft, in my opinion, and you don't look back. You can bring in other people in free agency, but Keon Coleman, if he's there on the clock with you guys should bring him in because he is a phenomenal player. Now on to the next pick. And coming in at pick 16, it kills me to do this, but the Seattle Seahawks are on the clock, and I'm going to be nice, and I'm not going to purposely try to screw over the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, they need help in the defensive front, and that's what I'm going to help them with. Because luckily for the Seattle Seahawks, my number one defensive tackle is on the board still, and that's the position that they need. They could go quarterback, and the only reason why I say that is because new head coach coming in for the first time in what feels like 1,000 years. But they just gave Geno Smith a contract, and they normally don't draft a QB in the first round. So keep that in mind. J.J. McCarthy is my only other first round graded QB left on the board, but I don't see him going here. Maybe they could trade back up, but I highly doubt that. But the Seattle Seahawks are picking at pick 16, and it's plain and simple. So, with the 16th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Seattle Seahawks select Jayden Newton, defensive tackle out of Illinois. Newton, despite him being on the smaller side for a D tackle, he stands out for his dynamic play at Illinois. His ability to hold his ground against the run, coupled with his agility, makes him a versatile defender. Newton is just not about pure strength. His mobility allows him to move, making his play along the line excellent. Newton shines in the pass rushing role, where his hands are quick and his diverse skills come into play. He will be a tremendous piece for the Seattle Seahawks moving forward if they take him here, and because he would be wreaking havoc in the NFC West, which is something, as a Cardinal fan, I do not want to see. But the Seattle Seahawks will be getting a baller on the defensive line because they need to rebuild that defense because they are slowly getting the pieces. Because the Seattle Seahawks defense used to be one of the most feared things in the NFL, and now it's not. The Legion of Boom 2.0, that entire defense will try to live up to the shoes and the stature that the Legion of Boom did. Jayden Newton going to the Seattle Seahawks will be justified when he's wreaking havoc and racking up sacks for the Seahawks. Now on to the next pick. Coming up next at pick 17 is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the Jaguars are a team that fell apart quick, and they need to fix this because they had arguably the best QB in their division, and now he's number 2 and number 3. So, with that being said, that's what I'm going to have the Jacksonville Jaguars doing. I'm going to have them getting one of the best prospects at a position of need. They need to fix that secondary. And all my DBs are on the board. The other positions I have them as a need are wide receiver, O-line, and edge rusher. but you go with the secondary. You get somebody who could be a ball hawk and who can lock down the top receivers. So with the 17th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Kool-Aid McKinstry, defensive back out of Alabama. The Jacksonville Jaguars get a ball hawk on the defensive side. They get one of the best DBs in the country and one of the best DBs coming out in the draft, period. He is physical in press, and he has a knack for knocking down deep balls and has fluid movement and has popped off all season against soon-to-be pros. His versatility is where he could pay dividends for a lot of the NFL schemes. He has the ability to switch up and playing both sides on the slot and inside and outside the slot. Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be one of the top DBs in the NFL in a few years if he goes to the right system. He has tremendous football IQ, and he's not shy about lining up against guys who are bigger and stronger and faster than him. He has lined up against NFL caliber receivers throughout his entire stay at Alabama, and now he's getting ready to take the next step into the NFL. Now on to the next pick. And coming up next with the 18th overall pick will be the Cincinnati Bengals. Now the Cincinnati Bengals, they have an easy pick here. They need to do this pick to protect Joe Burrow for the long term, and if you haven't guessed that already, and that is go with the offensive line. So the Cincinnati Bengals, you are on the clock, and I think it is easy. You should bring back T. Higgins if you can, and go offensive line in the first round. You get an offensive lineman who can help protect Joe Burrow for the long term, because we all have seen what happens when Joe Burrow goes out and the Bengals are not the same team. Jake Browning, or whoever the heck his first name is, Browning of the Bengals, he's not Joe Burrow. They are a completely different team without Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the heart and soul of that team, and he has teammates that will fight for him. But if you don't protect him, you will only be doing him a disservice in the long run. So with the 18th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select J.C. Latham, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Protecting Joe Burrow should be the number one priority, and that's what they do with this pick. J.C. Latham's stature is undeniably one of the most formidable attributes. And standing over at 6'6", weighing nearly 360 pounds, his size alone demands attention, and that's what the Cincinnati Bengals will be getting when they draft J.C. Latham to protect Joe Burrow. Because Joe Burrow got hurt this season, and the Bengals were in panic mode. They missed the playoffs, and they don't like missing the playoffs because they have a really talented roster on the offense. But they need to find a couple of pieces on that defensive line and their defensive set. Their offense, they need to get a good O-line. Give Joe Burrow time, and he will win you games. J.C. Latham to protect Joe Burrow would be a nice thing to see for all Bengal fans, because J.C. Latham is one of the best offensive lineman prospects in the draft, and that's exactly what you get when you take J.C. Latham. Now, you could maybe take a wide receiver in round 2 if you lose T. Higgins. This could also be a trade-up candidate for somebody, so the Bengals could also get a couple more draft picks to stockpile, and they could take an offensive tackle in round 1 when they trade back, or round 2. But I have them taking one of the best offensive line prospects in this year's draft right here. Now on to the next pick. Coming up next is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. Now, the Los Angeles Rams are a team that are in a good predicament because they are a team that knows how to scout. They have fourth and fifth and sixth round players playing like stars. So I'm going to have the Rams do something that they could benefit from in the future. Take a player and let him sit behind somebody for a year or so. Because my sixth ranked player for this position is still on the board, and the Rams are going to need to address this position for the future sooner or later. And what better time to do it than right now? Because the Rams can afford to take a QB and have him rest a year or so and have him learn behind Matthew Stafford. And let's say he sits for a year or two and Matthew Stafford retires and he's ready to go. He knows the playbook and he's ready. Just like throw him out there a couple of times throughout the year. Like if it's a blowout or Matthew Stafford gets hurt, you have a guy that you have studied and you have watched film on and you believe could be the heir for LA. Because you don't want to be too high in the draft when you need a QB, and you don't want to move up to give up too much. Because this is the first pick that they've had in a long time, the first round. And I think that they want to make this pick mean something and address the most important position in football, a quarterback, and have him learn behind Stafford, like I keep on saying. So, with the 19th overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams select quarterback J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. So J.J. McCarthy to the LA Rams will be a good fit in my opinion. What stands out about J.J. is his ability to play both ways. He has a good arm. He's accurate, which makes him a threat in any offense, and that's the type of QB that the LA Rams would be looking for. He is coming out a year early. He's coming out his junior year, but he's the catch because Michigan relies heavy on the run game, so there's some chatter about McCarthy having enough reps to throw the ball in big-time situations. He's got all the physical tools, no doubt, but some folks are wondering how he'll adapt to the NFL style of offense that leans more towards the passing. Physically, he's a guy in shape, but he could bulk up some more to handle the tough tumbles of the NFL. He's a bit of a risk taker on the run, which is something he needs to watch out for because it could lead to the Rams getting a QB in himself and him taking a hit and getting hurt. McCarthy, in a nutshell, guides the talent and the numbers, but the big question is how he will transition into the pass-heavy offense in the pros. So take him here and let him sit behind Matthew Stafford should be the go-to move, in my opinion, because he would do wonders if he can learn, and especially from somebody like Stafford, because Stafford is one of the best in the NFL right now, especially in the NFL, in the NFC West. Now on to the next pick. And coming in at pick number 20 would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's fix that secondary because your secondary needs some help because Joey Porter Jr. is a fantastic DB, so let's get him a dancing partner. The DB in question will be playing the DB1, and you can move Porter to 2, and if you want to bring back Patrick Peterson, you can be CB3. Then you have your 1, 2, 3 punts for the secondary. You need to lock down the DB position now because you have Jamar Chases, you have Odell Beckham Jr.'s, who I think will go back to the Ravens. You have Zay Flowers. You have the Amari Coopers in your division, and you need to lock them down. And the best way to do that is to get young, good, athletic defensive backs, and that's exactly what you're going to do with this pick. So, with the 20th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Nate Wiggins, defensive back out of Clemson. Now, the Pittsburgh Steelers getting Nate Wiggins, he emerges as a top 5 cornerback prospect in the 24 draft class, offering a mix of physical attributes, coverage skills, and football IQ. His height and arm length, combined with his coverage schemes on various levels, makes him a versatile option for teams who are looking for a cornerback that can play on the outside. While he shows room for improvement in burst and physicality, his demonstrated growth and performance against top-tier NFL wide receivers makes him the best option available. He is a cover 3 based defensive back, but he has the tools to adapt and thrive in any scheme available to him, so he can play wherever you need him. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get an absolute baller in this pick. So make the pick happen, Pittsburgh. Now on to the next team. And coming in with pick 21 will be the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and I'm pretty sure I know exactly what they need. And that is offensive line help. You can go offensive tackle, or you can go guard/center. And there is one player on this board that can play all 3 positions. He's versatile. So the Miami Dolphins, let's talk about it. Miami Dolphins, you don't want Tua Tagovailoa getting hurt, and you want to give him the most time that he can to succeed, and that's exactly what you will be doing with this pick right here. You get somebody who can play a guard, tackle, and maybe a center position, but he is versatile, like I have said, and he is one of the best prospects still on the board. So with the 21st overall pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Miami Dolphins select Talise Fuoga, offensive guard out of Oregon State. Talisa is arguably the best offensive lineman available, and the Miami Dolphins need to get offensive line help to protect Tua Tagovailoa in the loaded AFC conference. The best way to get Tua time to succeed is to build a line in front of him, and with Talisa being the pick here, he will do just that. He has the versatility and ability to play offensive guard or tackle. He might be able to play center too, so you can stick him anywhere on the line. And this is a good start to continue to build that line in front of Tua, because Tua is your best chance at succeeding. And you have weapons in Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but they can succeed and be the weapons that they can be if Tua has no time. The Miami Dolphins should be in line of upgrading their offensive line, and this is the best way to start. Get this player, build the offensive line, and make a run for the AFC Conference again. Now on to the next pick. Coming up next is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'll tell you this, Philadelphia Eagles fans, your first round pick will not be a Philadelphia Bulldog. I mean the Georgia Bulldogs. Let's get you a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball that did not go to the University of Georgia. Let's talk about it. The Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm going to go defensive back here, because you got Darius Slay, Keely Ringo, Eli Rex, and James Bradbury. I'm going to get some youth in that backfield, because those guys I don't really trust, and you need a defensive overhaul since you guys lost Jonathan Gannon last offseason to my Arizona Cardinals for their head coaching position. So, time to rebuild this defense, especially the defensive backfield. So, with the next pick of the draft has to be a DB, and there's only one guy who fits. So with the 22nd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Cooper DeJean, defensive back out of Iowa. Now, Cooper DeJean is one of the better defensive backs to come out in recent memory. He's also one of the first white defensive backs who is listed to go in the first round in a very long time, and rightfully so. He's one of the best defensive backs in college football. He has good size, good football IQ. He can play man to man, and the Philadelphia Eagles need a ball hawk, and Cooper DeJean could be that guy. The Philadelphia Eagles have a extremely easy answer on draft night. If Cooper DeJean is there, take the pick. He could be a key piece for that defense for the next 5 to 10 years to come. Cooper DeJean, when he was at Iowa, was regarded as one of the top defensive backs in the nation, and he's going to Philly where they love their football. Philadelphia Eagles, you got yourself a player. Now on to the next pick. And coming up next is going to be the 23rd pick, and the 23rd pick goes to a team that just lost their playoff game recently, and that is the Houston Texans. Now remember, the Houston Texans originally have 2 first-round picks. They traded one to us, and this is their pick that they got from the Cleveland Browns. So Houston Texans, you are on the clock. Now the Houston Texans surprised a lot of people this past season because they exceeded all expectations. People had them picking in the top 5, but they wouldn't be picking there because they gave that pick to the Cardinals. So it's safe to say that they killed their expectations, and CJ Stroud is a good QB. Now, what I want to do here is build that defense because he took Will Anderson Jr. Let's give Will Anderson a dancing partner to play on the opposite side of him. So, with the 23rd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Houston Texans select Chop Robinson, defensive end out of the Penn State University. So, Chop Robinson is the best edge rusher on the board at this point of the draft, and you get an absolute ball hawk pass rusher who will give his all 100% every single game. Pairing him with Will Anderson Jr. going into Will Anderson Jr.'s second year will only benefit Will Anderson Jr. in the long run because now you can have a good defensive core. You can spend a little bit of money in free agency for the interior defense, for the D tackles and nose tackles, and you could make a run for that division. Because your offense is pretty good. You just need to work on that defense. Getting 2 bona fide starters on the edge within the first 2 years of this new regime is the way to go. Chop Robinson Jr. is the best edge rusher on the board. He's a freak athlete, and he would put up freak numbers. Now on to the next pick. The Dallas Cowboys are picking at pick 24. Now the Dallas Cowboys, it is simple. I want you to either get a defensive back to pair with Diggs, because once he went down, you season went downhill. Or you could continue to build that offensive line to protect Dak Prescott and get a rookie offensive tackle coming into another year for Dak, where he's going to start to get more expensive, and the contracts are going to start to get more expensive because now you got to pay CeeDee Lamb. So you got to let some of those guys go. The best offensive tackle on the board is worth a first round grade in my opinion, and that's where the Dallas Cowboys should be looking is offensive line. So with the 24th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select Amarius Mims, offensive tackle out of Georgia University. Now, Mims is arguably one of the best offensive line prospects in the draft. He would be having a higher grade, but needs and people not needing to go line makes him go down a little. I have him rated as a 91 on the offensive line scale, and he could plug in and play left tackle or right tackle if need be. Mims going to the Dallas Cowboys will only help their run game and help their pass game that they desperately need help with on the versatility scale because their offensive line is on the older side. You can let Tyron Smith walk, and you can plug and place Mims in his position, and you can use that money for Smith on another position of need, and you can go get a defensive back in free agency with that money. Get a little bit younger of the offensive line will help the Cowboys in the long run, and this should be the pick. Now on to the next pick. Coming up next is going to be the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers are on the clock, and the Packers came so close to making the NFC Championship, and they need to work on that offensive line, and they need to get another defensive back to pair with Jair Alexander. So, Green Bay Packer fans, let's talk about it. Let me try to help you. Packer fans, now, if the board falls like this, I would suggest you guys go out and get the defensive back that is the number one prospect on the board. Because you want to pair somebody up with Jair Alexander. You don't want to make a mistake that the Cardinals made when we had Patrick Peterson and didn't get a good CB2 that you could rely on. You got good depth at the defensive back position, but this guy on the board would be a number one, number two DB in any other draft in any year. So, with that being said, this should be the pick. With the 25th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Terrion Arnold, defensive back out of Alabama. Now, Terrion Arnold would be a good pick here simply because he's used to playing CB1 and CB2 because he played across Kool-Aid McKinstry. He can come in and be an impact starter on day one for this defensive backfield that the Packers will need to continue to develop if they want to make a run back to the top of the NFC North. Pairing him with Jair Alexander will do wonders for the Packers backfield, and you can address offensive line in free agency and round two. But Terrion Arnold is too good to pass up here for the Packers, and the Pack is getting an absolute ball hawk that will give it 110% every single time on the field. Now on to the next pick. And with the 26th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. Now, the Buccaneers are a team that also exceeded a lot of expectation because not that many people believed in Baker Mayfield, myself included. Baker Mayfield proved everybody wrong. And now, safe to say that he should be the QB in Tampa. Now, Tampa can go out and get pieces. Try to bring back Mike Evans and Antoine Renfield Jr., and they should use this pick on the edge rushing help. Fix that defense and win that division, because that division is extremely winnable. And I have just a player for you guys. So, with the 26th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Braylon Trice, edge rusher out of Washington. Let's talk about it. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers get an absolute beast for their defensive end and their defensive front. He could play a linebacker as well, but I would think he would transition better into a defensive end position simply because he's big and he's lengthy. Braylon Trice should be a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for that simple fact, and I expect him to have in the same combine because this is being filmed before the combine. Now on to the next pick. And coming up next is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Arizona Cardinals are picking up next, and I originally had them going Jordan Morgan because he's one of my top offensive linemen, and we need to find another left/right tackle because DJ Humphries, who plays on the offensive line, on the opposite side of our first-round pick last year, Paris Johnson, is coming off of an ACL injury. So the Arizona Cardinals, I would be comfortable with them taking a offensive tackle for the second year in a row in the first round and cutting DJ Humphries post June 1st. That way we could find his replacement. And I think that's what we're going to do. And as much as I want Jordan Morgan, he's not been looking good at the Senior Bowl, according to people that are there. And as of this recording on the 2nd of February, he has not taken a interview with the Arizona Cardinals. Now that doesn't mean anything because they can always go and interview him, and they can interview him at the Combine. But I'm going to go with one of the next best prospects on the offensive line, and we have interviewed him. He said that he likes Kyler Murray. He wants to play with Kyler Murray and be his bookend on the offensive line to protect his opposite side of Paris Johnson. So that's a win-win. So with the 27th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Tyler Guyton, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Now, a prospect like Tyler Guyton are why the NFL Draft is so much fun. The ultra-athletic offensive tackle is tailor-made for any system in the NFL, as he has all the tools to thrive in the NFL. My pro comparison for Tyler Guyton is somebody like a Titus Howard. Like Howard, Guyton was a converted offensive tackle in college who had to sit until he was ready for competition, but showed the same flaws, such as staying on blocks and consistency in pass protection due to lack of playing time. However, under NFL coaching, Howard became a thriving right tackle in the NFL, making good money. I see the same future for Tyler Guyton. His athleticism and flashes of patience with great feet and the more to show that he has Pro Bowl potential is exactly what he needs to succeed. And he could play right tackle, and we can move Paris Johnson to left tackle, and then we are set for the tackles for the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals could bring in a right guard in free agency and get a center in the draft, and the offensive line is good to go. Tyler Guyton is a name to watch out here. If not Tyler Guyton, Jordan Morgan, as I said, could also be a potential Cardinal because the Cardinals need to address the offensive line to protect Kyler Murray and help the run game even more. Guyton and Jordan Morgan are neck and neck for the best offensive lineman on the board. I'm going with Guyton here just from what I've seen at the Senior Bowl. Tyler Guyton, you are an Arizona Cardinal. And like you said in that interview, you would love to protect Kyler Murray. Now on to the next pick. And coming up next is going to be the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills just lost in heartbreaking fashion. And with rumors that Stephon Diggs wants out, let's try to fix that. Let's say Stephon Diggs stays. Let's get him a number 2 receiver that we can count on. And there's the perfect guy for that position in the draft. Yes, he's a little bit of a reach for some, but I have full faith that this guy will be a tremendous wide receiver in the NFL. He's only going to start to climb up draft boards, and this is before the Combine. Josh Allen can get another big-bodied wide receiver weapon to duke it out in the AFC, and hopefully to help him get him over that little hump that he has against Patrick Mahomes. So with the 28th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver out of LSU. Now the Buffalo Bills right here, they get a big-bodied wide receiver that could be a playmaker for them for the next 5 to 10 years to come. And if Stephon Diggs does move, he could easily slot in at number 1. Or if you want to go in and bring a free agent wide receiver in the future, he can be a good number 2 as well. Brian Thompson Jr. will upgrade the Buffalo Bills defense and give them that big-bodied receiver that they have so desperately missed. If Stephon Diggs does return, him and Diggs will be a good 1-2 combo for Josh Allen and give Josh Allen more weapons to go after Patrick Mahomes. Brian Thompson Jr. is what you need in a wide receiver. He has a work ethic and the speed and the hands and the footwork to succeed in the NFL. This is an easy pick for the Buffalo Bills if I am them. Getting Brian Thompson Jr. will only help Josh Allen's development in the long run, and he will be a somewhat cheaper wide receiver to have on your team as well. So Buffalo Bills make this pick. Brian Thompson Jr. from LSU should be a Bill. Now on to the next pick. So now we are going to be going into the conference championship teams. The conference championship just ended, and the Detroit Lions are going to be the first team on the clock. They lost in heartbreaking fashion to the San Francisco 49ers. So, Detroit Lions fans, I'm going to try to get you guys one of the best players possible that's still on the board. And it's a position of need for you guys, and that is a defensive back. A defensive back that you could pair with the people that you have on roster right now, and he can be there for the next 5 to 10 years. Because I have a first round grade on a defensive back, and he will be the best option for you guys at this point of the draft, in my opinion. So, with the 29th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Kamir Lassiter, cornerback, out of the University of Georgia. Kamir Lassiter is the best prospect on the board that plays CB. He will be a day one corner for you coming into the season. You can count on him to be a lockdown corner, and he will help boost your team's morale. You need to get a lockdown corner because you guys were so close to the Super Bowl. And CJ Gardner-Johnson is more than likely leaving in free agency. So you can possibly get his replacement right here. And it will be cheaper. Lassiter to the Detroit Lions should be the move, in my opinion, because the Lions need to get a little bit younger on the defensive backfield. And they need to get more ball hawks. And Lassiter is a ball hawk. This is an easy pick. Make the pick. Lassiter will help, like I said, boost your team's morale. He is a tall, lengthy, quick receiver with quick hands and good football IQ. So, if I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm making the pick. Now on to the next pick. And coming in at pick number 30 will be the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens are a team that can't get over that hump. Lamar Jackson did not make it to the Super Bowl. So let's try to help the Baltimore Ravens, the Raven flock, because they were close. But I think that their needs are defensive back, wide receiver, and offensive lineman. So the Baltimore Ravens, they might be losing a couple big name free agents, but not that many. But the pick should be a offensive lineman, I believe, because you got Troy for the offensive lineman, and then you got Troy for the wide receiver. They also need help on the D-line. Leonard Taylor would be a good option here, and so would Byron Murphy from Texas, or Chris Jenkins. But I think offensive lineman is the way to go. Get another tackle, because Offensive line is a really important position because you could maybe be saving a little bit of money if you can get younger and better up in the trenches. So I'm going to have him go offensive line here because my 24th ranked player is an offensive lineman, and that's a need for the Baltimore Ravens. So with the 30th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Troy Fashanu, offensive tackle, out of Washington. The Baltimore Ravens get to reset their offensive line right here. You can have him, Ronnie Stanley, and Moshe Yanda holding down the fort for the next few years to come until you gotta find Yanda's replacement. Stanley and Fashanu could easily be the key cornerstones for this offensive line and to help Lamar Jackson get over that hump and give him more time. Now, if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, like I said, this is an easy pick. He's a good pass protector and a decent run blocker. He has good feet and good hand-eye coordination. The Ravens need to get a player like this because they cannot get over that hump. Because the AFC runs through Patrick Mahomes, and you gotta load up on all sides of the ball, including the offense. Baltimore Ravens, this is one of the easiest picks you can make in your franchise. Build that offensive line to give Lamar Jackson and company more time. And I would be surprised if they don't go offensive lineman in the draft or sign anybody in free agency. But I personally would go offensive line in the draft because you will do wonders for your team. And this will only benefit you guys in the long run. Now on to the next pick. Before I get into the Super Bowl runner-up and the Super Bowl winner picks, I want to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing 2 extra picks, and that will be for the Cleveland Browns and the Carolina Panthers, because they didn't have a first-round pick this year. So I'm going to predict who their first pick would be. So with that being said, the Super Bowl runner-ups are the San Francisco 49ers. Now, the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to be losing some key pieces on their defense, Kinlaw, Farrell, and Young. Those are the 3 big names that I saw when I glanced at it. You could go offensive line in round 2 and maybe free agency, but there's a D tackle here that's really, really good. He's the number 2 D tackle in the draft because he has skyrocketed on boards since his the Senior Bowl and the season. So, with that being said, with the 31st pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Brian Murphy II, defensive tackle out of Texas. Now, this should be the pick right here because the 49ers could get a ball hawk. You could easily replace Kinlaw on a cheaper deal because Byron Murphy is a tremendous player. I'm going to talk more about him here in a moment. But the San Francisco 49ers get a legit player in Byron Murphy. You could bring back Farrell and Young on a team-friendly deal. Maybe bring back some other free agents that you have leaving. But Byron Murphy should be the pick here simply because he is an outstanding player. He's the number 2 D tackle in the draft. And you guys can try to make another run at the Super Bowl. With that being said, let's get into it and let me talk about him a little more. So Byron Murphy has a good build and he's not bad shape. He's thick in the lower half. He is quick off the ball. He could be nose tackle, D tackle. And he will pressure the quarterback. He will more than likely get a double team assignment. Byron Murphy to the 49ers is the best case scenario for them because they need a big run stopper if Kinlaw does leave. And that is what Byron Murphy can be at the next level. He is a tremendous 4-down player. He will give it all on the field 24/7, and he will try his best to make sure the 49ers get to the next step. Byron Murphy is a tremendous guy off the field, and he will give you everything that he has. You would not go home disappointed when he's playing on the field for your team. It stinks because us Cardinals, we want Byron Murphy the second, but we understand he is going to get a payday. He's going to be a first-round pick, and he deserves it because he's one of the best defensive tackles in all of college football. Byron Murphy to the 49ers is a best-case scenario for him because he's going to be on a Super Bowl caliber team right now, and he's going to try to help them get to the Super Bowl because they came so close this past season. Now on to the next pick. And coming up at pick 32 will be the Super Bowl champions. And surprise, surprise, just like I predicted, it is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs, they have a few needs. One of their biggest needs is a wide receiver. And they don't have a legit number one wide receiver, most people will agree. But they do have some talented receivers. So with Patrick Mahomes rumored to take a pay cut, I can see them spreading that out for Chris Jones and company, and maybe trying to bring in a good depth player for wide receiver, maybe like a Chase Claypool, and resign MVS, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman, and Hollywood Brown. I don't see coming to Kansas City. So like a person that can catch the ball that is good, like an MVS for short. But I'm going to get them a big body wide receiver here at 32 because that is exactly what they need. Because Mahomes does not have that big body receiver that he can throw the ball to and he can trust like a Tyreek Hill. So, with the 32nd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Troy Franklin, wide receiver, out of Oregon. Now, Troy Franklin is that big-bodied receiver that Patrick Mahomes has needed since Tyreek Hill left. He is a down-the-field burner with a little more savvy than you might expect for somebody of his archetype. Speed is the name of his game. His first step or two doesn't blow you away, but he quickly kicks into high gear after that. Franklin has the top-end speed to outrun just about anybody on the field, and it is rare for him to get caught once he gets a step on someone. Franklin is in just a speedster, though. He is a quick-footed, detailed route runner. Franklin consistently throws different releases at the defensive backs, making it difficult to get a read on him over the course of the game, even on repeated routes. Franklin also has a good understanding of how to tackle and multiply defensive backs, often attacking one shoulder before breaking out the other way. He is almost never running routes in the same way that he feels as if he's going to get through the motions. Franklin has workable yards after the catch as well. He isn't just a strong, particular explosive wide receiver, but his quick feet and speed give him enough wiggle room to be a threat. The Oregon standout has regularly been called on to be an option in the screen game. With that said, Franklin's frame presents some issues. He's a tall, lanky receiver, which means he often struggles to sink his hips and explode out of certain routes, like curls, comebacks, and digs. Franklin's skinny frame is also a part of why the ability to win the ball in the air can be inconsistent against nastier defensive backs, which could be a problem in the league. Franklin's speed makes him an exciting, swinging, high on the end of potential wide receiver, while his crafty route running and attention to detail gives him the comfortability floor that is needed. Franklin would also fit best as a number 2 in the vertical offenses, primarily as an outside receiver. His pro comparison is Darius Slayton. He's a wide receiver 6 in the draft, and Patrick Mahomes would be lucky to get somebody of this caliber because that is a good piece. Kansas City, they could try to go out to get a number 1, like maybe a T. Higgins, and they could get Troy Franklin too, and they can have Franklin, Higgins, and MVS as the starting 3 receivers, along with Rice at 4. And Patrick Mahomes should be happy because Patrick Mahomes was talking about taking a restructure to get pieces around him. Troy Franklin should be a Kansas City Chief when it's all said and done. And that is the end of the first round of picks. But now I'm going to do the second round pick for the Panthers and the Cleveland Browns. So the Carolina Panthers, let's get into their pick. Now, the Carolina Panthers, just wait for the photo to switch. The Carolina Panthers should have no problem getting a weapon for Bryce Young. They are here because they didn't get a first-round pick because they traded up into the first round last year to select Bryce Young. And now to see if Bryce Young is their guy, they need to put the pieces around him. And I'm going to have them go wide receiver within their state because that is one of their top needs. So, with the 33rd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Xavier Legette, wide receiver out of South Carolina. Now, this is a need. They could go Jackson Powers and Johnson, but Xavier Legette is too good of a prospect to pass up on, especially when you need to put pieces around your franchise QB. Let's talk about Xavier real quick. So, Xavier Legette is a late bloomer in college, but one with an NFL-ready frame and ball skills. He is lined up all over the field in South Carolina, though he was primarily playing on the outside with the vertical responsibilities. Legette lacks quickness and refinement at the line of scrimmage, but he makes up for it with his long speed, and he has enough juice to consistently be a threat down the field on go routes and post routes and deep crossing routes. Once he starts to find his footing and starts striding out, he has the bully-style yards after catch, and you will be thanking him for his speed and his strong build. More importantly, Legette is a devastating, consistent catcher and playmaker. His frame is excellent and massive, and his hand-eye coordination makes it easy for him to high point the ball. Legette is also a effortless, flexible mover in the air, which allows him to control his body as needed to get the ball. The Carolina Panthers get a ball-hawking wide receiver that they need to pair with Bryce Young, because this could make up for them not having a first-round pick this year if Legette is a standout wide receiver. I firmly believe in any other draft, Legette would be like a late first-round pick, but he's going early in the second, basically a first-round pick here to the Carolina Panthers, and the Panthers get somebody that they can hope that could elevate Bryce Young for the foreseeable future. Now, this should be the pick here. It should be wide receiver in my personal opinion. I like Legette, and he could be the hometown kid coming home because he played ball here throughout college. The Carolina Panthers get Xavier. Now on to the Cleveland Browns. Now the Cleveland Browns are on the clock for the first time in this draft, and we are at pick 54. Now the Cleveland Browns, they need a wide receiver. They need a playmaking receiver to add to the receiving core. They need offensive tackle, D tackle, and edge rusher. But there is a first round, second round talent of a wide receiver here, and I think he's too good to pass up on. You can add him with Amari Cooper, and you should be just fine for your 1-2 punch because Nick Chubb's going to come back, and you have Ford there, and you have Deshaun Watson there. So you got to give Deshaun Watson, like him but not, playmakers. And the Cleveland Browns are about to get a playmaking wide receiver who could have been a first round wide receiver in any other draft in the next couple of years. But he's coming out this year, and he's going to be a good receiver in the pros. So the Browns, they could also look at offensive linemen, but Jordan Morgan, who is falling down boards because he can play tackle, he can play guard. You have Zach Frazier and Cooper Beebe as well that might be here, but wide receiver is a bigger need. So I think the Browns going to address more needs in free agency. So with the 54th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Ja'Lynn Polk, wide receiver, out of Washington. Polk grades out as a top 50 prospect and a fringe first-round talent in the 2024 draft class, at least on my board. He's one of the most diverse wide receivers in the class, and he has a good catch point ability and yards after catch skill to win his quarterback over quickly. Standing at 6'2", 204, Polk passes and has the desire to be the most athletic player on the field, with excellent explosive and agility and smooth futility in all phases of his game. And he is not a burner. He has enough speed to beat out defenders and can create a late snap separation on tight throws. His fluidity has a athletic grants him the versatility both as a separator and as an offensive weapon. He can be used on motions and on multiple planes, and while working off steam against zone and man-zone coverage, he has the ankle IQ and the intent to throttle control to create spaces for himself to get the ball. Without a doubt, he will be a top wide receiver in his division and on his team. Deshaun Watson should be extremely happy that he gets a playmaking wide receiver that he can grow with for the next couple years to come. The Cleveland Browns should take Polk here, no questions asked if he's here. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been my yearly first round mock. I normally don't do the extra 2 picks, but I decided to do them because I wanted to give every team at least one player. I will be doing that for the conceivable future going forward when I do my first round mock. Now, with that being said, the Arizona Cardinals 7-round mock will be coming out, I want to say, a week before the NFL draft or so, after we get the comp picks out, just in case we get one. And Mind of a GM, I'm going to start filming those again. And we just released the MCU Phase 1 video, and you guys have seemed to like that. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Tap the little bell on that YouTube app so you guys never miss an upload. I love making these videos, and I hope you guys do too. Let me know what you think about the mock in the comments. I hope that I nail some of these, and I hope that my Cardinals get Marvin Harrison Jr., if you know me. I want to thank you guys again. Please be sure to like and subscribe. I am doing a giveaway at 400 subscribers. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.